is a mold that made some small plastic animals that we introduced back in the late 40s, early 50s. I can see. So that's one of the things you could produce on a machine like this. That's
cool.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where did it come from? This one? Where did we buy it from?
Yeah. So the first machines we got was from a British manufacturer. We bought them through a Danish company, but they were from a British manufacturer. And then later on, we added other machines as well. But the first ones were British.
Mm-hmm. Really cool.
Yeah.
Then you plugged it in. It was
yeah.
electrified?
Yes, it was, and then you had some kind of element that could heat up your plastic granulate that you put down here, and then it's heated up, and then when it's sort of heated up as much, so it's like sort of like toothpaste. Then you, through some compressed air, you make sure, of course, that you close your mold, and then you could sort of, through some compressed air, inject that very hot plastic into the mold, and then it would make whatever you had in the mold, and then you waited a little while, and then you opened, you could take it out, and then you could start all over again. And there are some fantastic stories from back in the day with these operators of the machines, that they had their own little routines. Again, it's manually operated, right? So they opened and they closed, and so when they have closed and injected the plastic, they sort of had their own routine. Some knew they had time to hum a verse of a song, and then when they were finished, they could open and take what they had produced out. Others, they had a little dance, 2 steps forward, 1 back, and 1 to the side, and so on. And then they knew they could open again. I would have loved to see that back in the day. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
So the next question I have is while we added with the plastic injection molding machine here, what was the first piece that Ole produced as a plastic toy? Yeah.
So the first product we sort of know and can see from our price lists, and it is interesting because it is a process, because we sort of say, we make a purchase of this machine in 46. It is not delivered until 47. So there's a long waiting time, and again, repercussions of the Second World War. Things were difficult back then, and then we start to experiment, and then we have the first plastic products on the market in 48. And the first plastic products we know of was we had a board game, and it was sort of called, and no, it's not that game, and it's spelled differently, but it's the name is very similar to Monopoly. It was sort of Monopoly or something like that, and it was a board game where you could learn about traffic rules. And the pieces, the bricks for that board game, they were made out of plastic, and that's some of the first plastic products that we produce.
That's so cool. How are they shaped?
Round, sort of flat plastic pieces that you could move around with. Sort of think a little bit like checkers, stuff like that.
Okay,
that was
I didn't know that. Okay.
So yeah.
So I have it's about the duck. So maybe we should go back.
Let's let's do that.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get this to work here.
Yes. That's right here.
Yes. So the question is why is the duck considered a symbol for the company? Is it just the history with the varnish, or
basically it is. You could say that. Well, first of all, it's just a very, very nice product, right? It's a fantastic product, and we have these wheels. You could pull it along, and it has, it's a little bit mechanical. So when you pull the duck along, the beacon will open and close. And we had some ducks that also could make a sort of a quack sound and so on. So it's a nice product, but it is very much related to this story, this how the focus on quality was handed over from one generation to another. So it is because of that. So if, let's say, instead it had been a fire truck that he had been working on, then it might have been the fire truck that was the symbol today on that. So it is, sometimes that's the way it goes, right? It is coincidences, but that just not take any way of away from the fact that this is a really, really nice wooden toy product.
Yeah, very much. But is it just in this color, or is there different colors of?
We made them in many, many different colors. Some of them very bright colors, some of them more sort of down-toned, like this. And this is an original duck. So all of the toys we have in this exhibition are original toys. That's pretty cool. They come from our archives here.
The next question is broadly about the wooden toys in itself, but why did LEGO start to make wooden toys at first at all?
Yeah. So that is it's some of the things we have been talking a little bit about. It's to try and get out of this crisis, this Great Depression, this really bad situation that Ole and his carpentry business is in because of what's happening in the world. So it is a matter of trying to think out of the box and basically for Ole who just lost his wife, in that time, that he had some sons that he needed to be able to put food on the table, right? So it is really out of hardship that he goes in this direction, but then he's open-minded enough to see potential when doing so. Again, at first it was just a temporary idea for him. I'm doing this to keep my company afloat, and then when the crisis is over, I'm going back to being a master carpenter. I know I'm good at that. But then he was open-minded enough to see an opportunity, and he went with that. That is quite amazing, and that's the story of Ole in a nutshell. I think that he's not afraid of seeing something and taking a chance, and let's see where this takes us. And that's very much the story of the company here.
So cool.
Yeah.
And the next question is what kind of wood is used for the wood toy usually?
Yeah. So he went with the beech wood. So that was it's a fairly sort of hard type of wood, but not too heavy. So it's nice for these toys. So it's not really heavy like oak, but it's very much sturdy as well. So he used beech wood for the products. That was his main choice.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Did Ole design the toys himself?
Yeah, some of it he designed, and we also know that his son Godfred, he has designed some of it as well. We have fantastic letters from when Godfred he attended a technical school away from his father for half a year. He sent letters and drawings home to his father with, I've come up with this truck, maybe you can tweak it a little bit and maybe put it into production. So he sent a lot of different models home, and of course also some of the employees did that as well. So it was a team effort. Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yes.
I would like to talk with you a little bit about the World War and the Second World War.
Yeah.
How did that affect Ole and his business?
Yes. Yeah. So again, as I mentioned briefly, of course, it goes without saying that it's tough times during a war. Of course it is. It's tough for everyone, right? And it was no different. But we can just see, compared to other businesses, that we actually we have a decent business. We can see on the few sales numbers we have from back then, that things are going quite well. And again, it is because of this this idea that when times are rough, you have focus on your children. You want to protect them, and you want to make sure they are happy. So you will give them some toys once in a while to play with. So again, compared to others, we had a decent business, but of course it is tough times. And then if you throw the fire in 42 on top of that, it wasn't sort of fantastic, right? It was rough times, but compared to others, we were okay.
So did we adapt? Did we make any toys at the time that was inspired by it, or were focusing on?
We did. So let's over here we actually have a few examples which I think is quite nice actually. So what we did here is that, again, it goes also to speak to what I talked about, that we as a company also made a lot of products that was very relatable for children. This is what the cars look like, and especially these two cars, the green one and the bigger red one. You can see there are some black cylinders on the side of these, and it's actually because that during the Second World War and also after the Second World War, there was a very big shortage of petrol. So instead, you actually added these gas generators to your cars to be able to drive them. So of course, if that was the way the cars out there on the streets actually looked, then of course so should the toys for the children also look. It should mirror the society.
That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So I got a question that I'm quite intrigued to ask you, because I don't know that story. So how did Ole, as a young man just starting out, and how did he afford to purchase the local woodworking shop?
Yeah.
It was only 5 years of working. Was he very successful at the time, or how did it?
Yeah. Yes. So I think it has a lot to do with those years where he traveled and abroad. And he uses his skills, and so I without knowing for sure, because it is tricky when we go this far back in time. We don't have that many letters and so on to lean on, but I would suspect